Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Team Empire podcast. You're here with your host Shannon, and another awesome episode 85. Highly requested guest since last year, since she got off the Olympia stage. I've got Kate Carroll on the pod. Hey Kate, how are you?
Cool. Thanks so much for having me on again. I'm good, thank you.
Sorry, you
I
go.
feel like this is our fourth episode, but it's been so long since we started, so it'll be good. Lots to talk about.
Yes, we did two in our first year, I think, and then we did one the year after that in 2023, and then we're due for another one because there's been a bit.
A few changes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so much happening, babe. You've been such a busy lady, but it's been good. We've had a bit of downtime. We'll start with that. We'll start with Christmas and the New Year. So happy New Year, happy Christmas, all of that. But tell me, what were you up to over the festive season and stuff? Did you have a break? And what do the Carolls do on Christmas? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I had a break from work. I've had 3 weeks off work, so I'm still on a break now. I go back to work on Monday. So we've had a pretty full house. We've had a few visitors over this time. Frank's daughter, she was with us for the first half of her school holidays, so she just went home on Wednesday. So it was really cool spending some time with her, and she had a friend come up as well and spend a week with us too. And then we actually had 2 of Frank's sisters come and stay with us as well. Grace, who's down at uni, she came up for a couple of weeks at the start of the holidays. And then we got a massive surprise on New Year's Eve where one of Frank's other sisters come over from London and showed up at our house to just completely shock and surprise us. So spent a bit of time with her as well.
Oh, cool. So family time, mostly.
Yeah, family time. Yeah, it's felt very quiet the last couple of days, having just me and Frank in the house again.
Like, what do we do with ourselves? We just gym 24 hours a day? What do we do?
Yeah, it's been kind of different for me because usually, like throughout the year, I'm really busy. So this period of time has been, I would say, unusual to just not have a lot to do. But it's good. I think it's needed, and it's kind of like preparing me to go into another busy year.
Yeah, a little break before it all happens, and you kind of we all need it, don't we? So it's a good thing. But do you have on Christmas? Do you eat the naughty foods? Tell us all. Like, sure.
I do. Yeah, of course I do. I'm not on prep, so
Nice.
yeah, I definitely enjoy. My mum makes a good pav, so I had a bit of that. She also makes some amazing Russian fudge, which is definitely my weakness. So I enjoyed a few bits of that, and yeah, just all the extra food that I wouldn't normally have throughout the year. I definitely did enjoy it.
You've got to do it, eh, girl? I love it. If Kate can do it, you can do it. Come on, you can enjoy your food.
Absolutely.
It's just getting back on is the trouble, isn't it? So like the new year, everyone does their resolutions and stuff like that. But do you do yearly goals? Do you like sort of sit down? You've got this time. Do you like sit down and be like, hey, this was 2024, this is 2025, or do you just kind of keep rolling, like make goals as you go?
Yeah, I kind of just keep rolling really. Like I've never been one of these people to be like New Year's resolutions, going to sit down now that it's the 1st of January and write everything out. But the goals just keep like rolling around. I mean, I had my goals for last year, and now as soon as the Olympia was done, it was kind of like, okay, what next? Yeah, I would say like most of my goals are around competing.
Yeah, and they kind of come when they come, don't they? It's not like, oh, it's the end of the year, everything like, it's just as the calendar comes out and like there's always little things that just make you set those goals. We'll talk more about them soon. We want to jump into that. I want to talk about everything else first, and then we'll come to what you're doing this year, because everyone wants to know, of course, but we'll talk about the journey to where you are now, and then we'll carry on. Speaking of, 2024 was crazy big, huge for you. Everything on your freaking inspo board will be like, tick, 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 tick. It's all done. But let's talk about, first of all, there were some announcements this year, or like just recently as well, for Tyler Mannion. We all know you're all up to date on all of it. Everyone's been chatting about it. I have to ask you, the fit model division. Frank and I talked about that in the last episode, so obviously I've got to ask you as well. Frank and I both had different opinions, but it was good to chat about it like from different views. So I just want to know just straight, because everyone knows my opinion now, but what's your opinion on the division, and what are your thoughts? Because you haven't been like super open like everyone else, like me, but tell us what you think.
I think it's a really good thing. I think it was a shock like when it came out, and a lot of people are kind of up in arms about it. But I think just the way that bikini has developed over the years, like it is starting to become not a very attainable physique. Like it is taking a lot longer to achieve that kind of physique. So I do think that I think it's a really good thing. And I also think, there's actually a lot of women out there who don't want to look like bikini pros or bikini Olympians. The physique is quite muscular now. It's super conditioned. So I think it's good that they're bringing something else in for those women who actually don't want to look that next level up. They like that fitness model, cover of a magazine kind of physique. And I also think like it's being underestimated a lot too. I think a lot of people are like, oh, you could just walk into a competition, but that physique still takes a lot of work to attain. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. And yeah, I think also, like, I have heard whispers about a lot of bikini pros who have competed back in the day and, you know, decided that the way that the bikini division was going just wasn't for them. I think there's a lot of girls that will come back and compete in this new category. So I'm really excited to see how it develops. Obviously, it's still new, so we haven't got any pros in that category yet. There haven't been any shows yet, so it's going to be one of those things we're just going to have to wait and see what comes out. But I'm super excited to see like the first batch of pros that come through, because they'll be kind of setting the standard really. And then when it finally gets to the Olympia, I think it's going to be really good.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yes, we're so spoiled. Yeah. We get 7 divisions now, us ladies.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy, yeah. I do think they need a men's, a new men's category as well, because that men's physique is probably super unattainable as well, and takes, you know, many years of training and everything like that. So I definitely think it'd be cool for them to announce a more like entry-level men's category too. So surely that's coming.
Hopefully. Yeah, because it'll bring money for them, you know, and it's like marketable and all of that cool stuff that they want as well, bringing the sponsors, but it's more attainable for men to achieve as well. And like, bikini's gotten bigger over the years, but I reckon men's physique's gotten pretty big too, hey, like it's crazy.
It's gotten massive. Yeah, those guys are huge.
Big. And it's like it just over even just since like 5 years, I feel like it's just grown a lot. So hopefully the men get one too. And you know, I've got to ask, will you be doing posing coaching for or fit model division for the girls out there?
Yes, yeah, I'm really excited for it. I mean, it's pretty similar to the standard bikini posing anyway. It's just a different front pose. So I've been having a little bit of a play around in the break, and yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. I never actually did the stallion pose, as they're calling it, the fit model front pose on stage. It was kind of, when I started, it was in that era of, it was, some girls were still doing it on stage, but it was kind of being phased out. And I hit that pose and I thought, oh, I just preferred myself in the main bikini front pose. So I opted for that one.
I love it. And have you had many girls like reach out for you for posing coaching? I'm just interested to see who's keen. Like, have you had a bit of keenness?
Yeah, not yet. I think, you know, it's still super early days, and like with the calendar having not come out yet as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about all the natural shows that they've added? So many natural shows, hopefully more like shows. Are you stoked about that?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Like any opportunities that, you know, more athletes can get to compete, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, I love it. It's going to be fun to watch. And there's more prize money for, like, I keep hearing the Pittsburgh keep putting their prize money up and a few of the pro shows as well. So that's just cool. Even for like, for you're a Kiwi traveling. So, you know, if you win, like you can get a bit more out of it. Like that must be kind of good news for you pros as well. Hey.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. Like the announcement that came through and Tyler was like 50K, and this is US dollars, 50K for bikini. I think it's like 25 for first place, and then it kind of tears down. But yeah, that's crazy prize money.
Yes,
it kind of got me like I really do want to do a big show like the Pittsburgh or the New York. It kind of got me like, oh man, I wish I could do that, but I need an off season. It's just not the right timing for me. But potentially, like next year, it could be something that I could look into doing.
Yeah. Who knows, babe? It's so exciting. And then we'll talk about a little bit about the NZIFBB season, because obviously you've got your gals in there for posing, and obviously all the WOV team and stuff that you're really close with as well. But what do you think? What did you think about our season? Obviously you were over in Olympia, you're doing lots at that time of the year, but you've caught a few of the shows. And what do you think of our new bikini pros?
They're amazing. Yeah, I think they're definitely well deserving of their pro cards. I mean, Christelle, she's been around for a long time and competing for a long time, and you've just seen the progression over the years. She's just getting better and better and better. So it was bound to happen for her. And then Lily, I mean, yeah, I think it's been said before, she's a bit of a freak of nature, kind of comes out of nowhere and has got that bikini pro look. So I'm really, really excited to see them and what they choose to do with their pro cards. And it'll be cool to see them on stage picking up pro shows this year. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
They're both working hard. You can see on Instagram, they're both keen,
yeah.
like in the foot off the gas, like it still goes. So
yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Excited for that. And how did your WOV girls go for posing in 2024? Were you happy with all of their posing? And did you see any sort of flaws this year that you were like, oh, girls, we shouldn't be doing that? Kind of just like little things, you know? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I think like overall they did super well, and I'm so proud of them. And I just think like the bikini standard of posing is getting, you know, more and more, it's getting higher. And so these girls are putting in more effort with their posing, which is amazing. They're booking more lessons, they're starting earlier. And I know that like a lot of coaches are preaching that as well, to like start your posing early. And, you know, working with a lot of the girls that Frank coaches, it kind of goes hand in hand. He's speaking to them early to get onto the booking their posing and stuff. So I can definitely see the improvements that are happening from that. But I think there's always going to be like some last minute girls. It's just the way that it is. So, but the gap is getting wider. So it's becoming very obvious. And these girls who are starting, you know, 12 weeks, even less. Gosh, I had a little 8 week or 6 week out client come to me this year, and it's stressful. And it's also like, now that the posing standard has increased so much, you're really seeing the difference in the girls who are putting the effort in and who are starting early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then
I think
what you saw, hey, was probably like maybe lack of practice or starting a bit too late.
Yeah, I think the main thing is starting too late. But yeah, overall, super, super proud of them. And it was really cool because I also had a few girls on the international stage as well, like a few in America and a few in Hawaii. So it's really cool just getting to work with different girls and connect with different people in different places as well. So yeah. I really love it. I love what I do.
I love it, babe. Well, taking over, taking over the world. That's right. And did you listen to the episode that I did? You might have had time because you're on holiday. Normally, you probably wouldn't. Did you listen to the Frank and I episode about the survey?
I did. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. It was really cool to see like the feedback results, and really cool that you just put it out there. And super grateful to everyone who voted for me. I know that I had a lot of votes and everything like that. So that was cool. Yeah, very appreciative for all the support and everything.
You and Jazz have definitely like set the tone, and you would have heard me and Frank talking about it because we hear a lot of everything just because of the pod, but everyone's always sharing their thoughts and everyone's fired up from you too. Like, seriously, you put it on the map, haven't you? You've put us on the map. You've made us look like we can do that if we really, really want to. So it's like, I think a lot of pros are like gearing up, and I'm sure you know about like there's quite a few pros that are like ready to go this year. So it'll be fun to see who actually turns up. Hey.
Yeah, super excited for that. And I think it just goes to show like, you know, it really isn't easy being a pro from New Zealand. We don't have as many opportunities. Like the cost is astronomical to be going overseas and competing, but it's doable, you know, and you've got to work on the physique and you've got to make sure that you're financially in that position as well. So but hopefully it's definitely inspired like some more New Zealand pros to just go for it and get overseas and do it. I'm excited to see, you know, who's going to be competing this year.
Yes. Yeah, so many people are keen, babe. I can't wait. And people keep it quiet. You know what Kiwis are like. We like to keep it quiet and come and turn up out of nowhere. So who knows who will do what. But it'll be fun to watch it, and no matter what anyone does. And pros can't keep it too quiet because the announcements come out anyway. So we will find out.
Eventually we'll find out, even if it's on the day that I'm competing.
We will know, okay? All right, let's talk about the Olympia. Okay, let's get into the guts of it. We obviously did a podcast right after you got your qualifications, so we kind of wrapped up all of your tour, which was cool. So we've kind of done that bit. When I talked to Jazz, we had to kind of wrap up your tour as well because we hadn't chatted since, but we can just jump straight into the O. So I want to know about your trip. So your trip to the US and your trip to Olympia were separate trips, but in the same year to the States. What was the difference between them? So obviously one of them you're going to the Olympia, one of them you're going to do your US Pro Tour, but were they quite different in terms of like your mindset and where you were at that time?
Yeah, definitely for sure. So like the first time going over for the tour, the 4 back-to-back shows, that was like, okay, I've realized that I'm good at this, having, placed second in Hawaii. So now I'm going over, I've got 4 chances to qualify for the Olympia. That was my goal, the biggest goal was to qualify. And it was, at that point in time, all I had my eyes set on was just winning a show and qualifying. So definitely having achieved that qualification and coming back, I had 14 weeks between coming back and the Olympia. So the challenge then was definitely um, elevating the mindset like to the next level, where like now I have qualified, I've achieved that goal that potentially seems so far away. I've done it now, and now I'm not just going to the Olympia, like I'm going to do well at the Olympia. I want to bring the best physique ever that I've ever brought, and I want to place well. I don't just want to go and be a number on stage and get that last call out or something like that. So yeah, I think the mindset was the biggest thing, and it was just really taking it to that next level and believing that I was capable of a top placing.
Yeah.
And then like physically, of course, as well. Like I had been on prep for most of the year, so I was definitely fatigued. Like it was hard. Like I was working hard and I was tired. The body was tired. But I think the biggest thing was, and I think I said it on my story once, it was just taking the emotion out of it and just doing what needs to be done, just ticking the boxes, and just focusing on the day as it was coming, ticking those boxes for that day and not getting too ahead of myself. And yeah, just trusting Frank along the way as well, that he would have me ready.
And you did. You guys did
And I did.
and I was talking to Jazz about in her one that because you guys were together, of course, there's a few similarities there. But she said because she'd been prepping a lot of the year too, her body obviously, all of this. You guys were together, everything. You guys are besties, but she obviously burnt out a little bit. Her body was stopped responding, and oh my god, how frustrating for the two of them. But did you experience any of that? And were you happy with your end physique, or was there challenges like getting it perfect?
Yeah, so I mean, I was fatigued, I was tired, but I think the timing of my preps were really good. Like I did have 14 weeks in between those shows. So we did, bump my calories up a little bit. And so it was kind of like a break, but not a break. Like I was obviously still in prep and everything, but it was like a little rest, I would say, for a few weeks before we like kind of hit the pedal again with it. Um, Yeah, so I would say like I was tired, but it was manageable. It was good, and I definitely am happy with the physique that I presented. Like looking at the photos and everything, I just still can't believe that that was me. Um, and super happy with the progress that we were able to make. Like it was a short time frame, 14 weeks, especially with the feedback that I received. You know, they wanted me to grow my glutes. So I had 14 weeks to grow my glutes. And I just went hell for leather. Like I went crazy psycho. I'd made it to the Olympia. So I wanted to make sure that I was bringing something that was better than what I had brought during my circuit. And we definitely achieved that. So my glutes, yeah, I definitely had like some more upper glute roundness and fullness. But at the same time, it's like, it still wasn't enough. Like it was a good improvement, but I still need to be bigger. So my feedback from the Olympia was bigger glutes, which we knew. And the other set of feedback I had was to not come as lean, so not as conditioned, which I'm happy with that feedback. Like I do really like a conditioned look on myself, and I was just obsessed with the physique that I brought to the Olympia stage. Like I really like that level of conditioning. And it was quite interesting because my feedback from my circuit was that my conditioning was perfect, was like where it needed to be. But I do think that on the Olympia stage, they definitely went for a less conditioned look, which is interesting, because you'd hope that it's the same from show to show. But I guess it's a case of it depends who's there and who's showing up on the day. And we knew that my strength was my conditioning. So had we brought me in less conditioned, I may not have placed as well as I did. You have to play to your strengths, really. So yeah, overall, I was super, super happy.
And you'll look different with bigger glutes too, hey? So like next time you come in, like the leanness that you have might actually look good with just that bit more glute. Like who knows, hey? But they do look a little bit softer, more lean type of like look sometimes, hey? They face.
Yeah, they definitely like a super full look. And I mean, I did have I would call them like etched tie-ins. So it was, yeah, we knew that we were on the leaner side, but it was intentional because we did, I didn't have the time to have a proper off season to put on the mass that I needed to on my glutes. So it was tactical, for sure.
I love it. Yeah. And you did so well because I did all of obviously I did those videos for you for the just wrapping up your USA tour, and then I've started editing like the Olympia ones, and I did all that content around Olympia. So I've seen your glutes so many times. So I was like, definitely growing. I can see it, man. I was like, I just looked at them for hours just from editing, and it's great, babe. It's just so cool to see you grow and get it done and do what you can in such a short amount of time. And Jazz had even less time, so I think that might be why she was running on fumes by the end of it. But my goodness, we actually had a question from Instagram about going into Olympia. What was the biggest hurdle you have had to overcome in the journey to the Olympia stage? So maybe that's prep wise, or maybe logistically in the show, like leading up to show, like anything. Did you have any hurdles or challenges you had to face?
I would definitely say the biggest one, and we just talked about it before, was the mindset. So it was just starting to believe that I was capable of a top placing at the Olympia, and not just being a number. And just knowing that I was going to be, all of these girls are the best in the world. It's crazy. We've all won pro shows to get there, and when you think about the number of pros who compete, and the number of amateurs who want to turn pro one day, then you've got the pros who are competing and want that Olympia qualification, and it's just, there's so many levels to it. So you definitely have to adjust your mindset and strengthen it as you go along as well. So I had convinced myself that I was going to get a top 10 placing at the Olympia. So, which is, might sound naive, might sound crazy, but I think that your goals have to be crazy. It has to be next level. And had I had the goal of just not placing in the last call out and just being a number, then I probably, that was all I was going to be shooting for. So top 10 was definitely the goal. And I ended up coming away with that third call out. So that was the 16th to 20th position. So I think you had a question in here about how did I feel initially, and then how do I feel now and stuff. So yeah, so obviously initially I was oh no, I haven't made the top 10. I was gutted initially, but I think that only lasted about an hour. And then I saw some photos and I realized who I was standing next to in that third call out. It was crazy. The girls that I was up there with, we had Ariana Brothers up there, Evie, and I always probably say her name wrong, Evie Iskender or whatever her name is. And then you had Alice Kocher, who was the other girl who beat Ash K in her circuit this year, and Tamiki Akata. You had all these, I was standing next to all these top Olympians in my call out. So I think when I looked at it like that, I was like, wow, okay, I have done really, really well. And so it didn't take long for me to feel different about it and feel better about it.
Yeah, it would be.
And there was also, sorry?
It'd be weird if you weren't gutted for a minute, right? I think everyone feels that way. So it's kind of normally good that you did.
Yeah, of course. And then also there was so many girls who I have looked up to for years and years and followed and stuff who were in call outs after me, and that shocked me, honestly. So it kind of put things in perspective and made me realize how well I had done.
Yeah, and I know you'll be biased on this, but what did you kind of, as objectively as you can, what did you actually think of the placings of the judges from this year? Obviously there's been mixed. People are like, what the what the hell was this? What was she in fourth call at? It seemed a bit funny for some things, but what did you think about across the board, the judging?
Yeah, I think it was good. Like I do think Laura Lee,
Mm.
should have won and everything. I personally like a more conditioned look. Like I really do like a more conditioned look. So seeing these girls in person, I mean, they have huge glutes, like it's ridiculous, but not as conditioned as what I thought. They're a lot softer in person as well, I feel, than what you're seeing, online watching and stuff like that. You can see the way that the glutes are moving and stuff like that in person, I think a little bit better than what was shown online. So, yeah, I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, with that conditioning, but I think it's just because I do favor a more conditioned look myself personally.
Yeah, so do I. I feel like you can just see everything, and you should see everything because it's bodybuilding. You
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
one of the where your tie-ins go right to the top. Well, I want to ask about how walking out on the stage because everyone wants to know. Like everyone wants to get to that point where you're like, okay, my number's about to be called, and like it's a huge announcement. It's quite cool. It's like the pro shows, and they hype you up, and so you come out and you do your whole routine and stuff like that. I think they changed your routine, didn't they, for the finals or something? But talk about coming out and doing your posing. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, so usually as a pro in a pro routine, you get about a minute. And my routine had always been like kind of a slightly on the longer side, like a minute 10 kind of thing. And I'd heard bits and pieces about, 45-second routines for the Olympia. And yeah, that was probably like another thing that kind of stressed me out was like, how am I going to shorten my routine to 45 seconds? Like that is really, really short. And then again, like backstage, they were saying 45 seconds, you're on and you're off. And basically, like they weren't going to be waiting around. They were going to be calling the next girl out and you'd be kind of like shoot off stage. So I didn't actually know exactly what I was going to do on stage until the night before. And they didn't want us to do a T walk or an I walk, whatever you call it. So they didn't want us walking to the back of the stage, hitting a pose, and then walking to the front. They were like, straight to the box, do your thing, get off. So I just kind of adjusted things a little bit and did that.
Yeah.
So I think overall I was happy with the routine, but I did feel like a little stressed in terms of like the time. Like I knew it had to be shorter. And I didn't want to be like shoot off stage. So I definitely like went through a little bit faster than what I would have liked. And I had to cut out parts of my routine that I really liked as well, which kind of sucked, but makes sense, when there's, I think there's 57 of us. So that's just such a massive lineup of girls. And if everyone's taking a minute to a minute and a half, like, yeah, it'll just blow the time out ridiculously.
It would, but also the guys get like a whole routine. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and the bodybuilding woman and the fitness woman. So I'm like, come on, give a bikini a minute. Like, sure.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. And you did a great job at making it what it was. And I wanted to ask did Renee help you with that last minute or did you just put it together like the way it was?
Yeah, it was kind of a mix. I asked her and she really still wanted me to do the full thing. And she was like, Laura Lee is going to still do the full thing. Everyone's still going to do it. And I was like, no, I need to shorten it. So I'd kind of worked it out a little bit myself and she had a little bit of input as well. But yeah, I definitely feel like I winged it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, you made it look good, babe. Because I think we were talking before you went on because I was messaging you and I was up doing a live stream and you're like, oh, my posing routine's changed. And I was like, what? And you're like, I just cut it down. And you're like, I'm shooting myself. Like, what do I do? But you did it and it looked really good and it was awesome to watch. And it was just like missing some of those little flavors of Kate, but we see that every other time as well. And we can see it in the comparisons, like you bring your flavor to that. So that was really cool. And you did a great job, babe. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Beautiful posing as always.
Thank you. I was happy when I watched it back. I was really happy. I think it's one of those things where when you do it, you feel like, oh my gosh, that wasn't good or whatever. And then you watch it back, you're like, oh, actually, that was really good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And everyone had to do it too, eh? Like everyone had to cut it, like change it to some degree or rush it, which looks worse. So, I mean, everyone had to compromise and it kind of sucks, but you did great. And I want to know, I asked Jazz this as well, but it'd be different for you because different day, different everything, different division. But what happens after you get off the stage? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know that you're not coming back for finals and all that? Because it's quite brutal. Like if you're done after prejudging, and only people come back for finals. Like what happens logistically? Do you know what to do, or do you just go home and hope for the best?
Yeah, so only the top 10 make finals. And so backstage, they were kind of walking around, the marshals were saying, like, only the top 10 will make finals. Do not show up if you don't get a text, or it was like an email or a text or something. If you don't get the text, do not show up, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wow, this is really lovely to hear just before you go on stage, you know, a bit brutal. But yeah, so I knew that I hadn't made the top 10 after the call outs. And then those girls just got the text or the email or whatever, and they knew to go back to finals.
Yeah, I was thinking it must be kind of brutal, like, because they're just organizing a show. They don't really care about your feelings. They're just like, you're done here. Like, so
totally. They're there to make things run smoothly. Yeah.
They're not there to like wrap you on cotton wool. But I mean, it sucks. So it must be
what it is.
Oh my gosh. And what can you see from the stage? Like, can you see people? Did you see Frank? Was he backstage? Or I know Dean and Jazz were watching you, I'm pretty sure. Like, could you see people, or was it just like crazy lights?
Yeah, it was different to all of the other pro shows I've done. So usually in a pro show, you get a coach backstage. So in, you know, my first circuit and everything, Frank was allowed backstage. We were there together. He was sitting with me. It was really nice. Like, he was helping me pump up. He was looking at me and adjusting and, you know, all of that kind of thing. So we were together that whole time. Whereas with the Olympia, obviously, like, there's so many more athletes, and they can't allow like a coach backstage. So I was backstage by myself. And it was a different vibe. Like, it was quite serious. Like, everyone was kind of to themselves. There are a few people who were on the same team, so they were like together hanging out kind of thing. But I didn't even see Laurelie in that room. I think she was out somewhere else sitting by herself. I went to the bathroom, and I walked past Amy Delgado, just like literally sitting on a chair just by herself. Like, people were quite separated. Yeah, so that was like the backstage vibe. And then when I walked out on stage, like, it was at the expo, the prejudging was at the expo. So there was like all these seats, and then there was like, you know, all these stalls and everything behind that. So there was people, I knew, because I had like peeked out the curtains, I could see there was like people just as far as I could see, like everywhere kind of thing. But when I walked out, like, I didn't see the crowd. Like, I just saw the judging panel, and I was like, wow, there's so many judges. It was like, you know, normally you can kind of stare here and you can see like the 5 judges kind of thing, or 7 judges. This was like a long table, and all the judges were there. So I was just really maintaining the eye contact with them. But I did have a really cool moment before I stepped out on stage where, you know, I was backstage, and I actually saw my parents in the crowd. And they had their like t-shirt, their purple t-shirts on with like the Kate Carroll and the ones that Frank got printed. So I could see them in the crowd, which was so cool. And it just makes me get emotional even thinking about it now.
Yeah.
It was super special to have them there. And I didn't end up seeing Frank. He was in the crowd somewhere. Same with Dean and Jazz. They were just in the crowd, and there was just so many people. So it was really get out, maintain that eye contact with the judges, do my thing, and then get off. And then as I was walking off, I saw my parents because they were kind of on the side, which was really, really cool. Very special.
What a moment, babe. That's awesome. And that's just really cool, like, just to take those little moments with you out as you go, and just like give you that little bit of love and confidence. And that's just awesome. And then that judging bit, like, you can see it from the live stream. You're like, is it the front row, or is it like the front? So you don't even need to like turn inwards if you're on the outside. You can just say straight, because there's judges all the way down the side.
They're everywhere. Yeah. And none of them are smiling.
Oh, really?
They're quite serious. Like, yeah, they're just kind of looking at you and then looking at their paper, and
it must be quite scary. And with the backstage being a bit more serious, and like just so many judges and just so many cameras out there too, and like things like that. And you know, you're live streamed to like the whole world, and like it's quite intense. But did you feel any of that pressure from all of those little things put together, or were you just kind of like, I'm good, I'm in the zone, I'm fine?
I didn't actually. Yeah, I'm probably quite lucky that I didn't think about all those things, because it would have been quite stressful. Even thinking about that now, I'm like, yeah, you're right. There was all of those cameras, all of those people filming, like, yeah. But I think I was just in my zone, and just excited to get out there. Yeah.
Only way to be, babe. It's the best way to be. And don't let me get in your head. Like next time, do the same thing. Same zone. I asked Jazz about who she met backstage because obviously she's got her fangirls from the wellness, and I love her fangirls too. I was like, "Who did you meet?" And she was like, "Oh, it's getting tanned with Fran. You know all of this as well, but getting tanned with Fran, and they're both naked." I was like, "This is crazy." I can't get around it. Fran's the best. But did you meet any of the ladies backstage that you love? And I know there was a few missing that I'm sure you would have loved to meet or just at least see and be around. But did you meet any girls backstage at all? I know it was quite serious, but did you catch any little hi? You know?
Yeah, I didn't really like. I was like, everyone's in their zone. I don't want to be that girl who's like hopping around and fangirling everyone. And I'm like, I'm one of these girls. I'm an Olympian too. But it was cool kind of seeing them around backstage and everything. But I did see a lot of them at the Meet the Olympians. Oh, was it Meet the Olympians? No, it was not Meet the Olympians. It was the bikini meeting that we had where they were like talking us through everything. So that was like the day prior, I think, or the 2 days before or something like that. So I met a few of the girls there. Angelica is like the best. She is so cute. She was bouncing around, like so lovely, like making sure she went and talked to everybody, taking photos with everybody. She was honestly such a sweetheart. That was really, really cool. And then at the Meet the Olympians, so you each have like your little stall, and then like the fans come up and they get like your autograph and stuff like that. Laura Lee was right in front of me. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit back here. No one's going to come to my stall. Everyone was lining up for Laura Lee, which is, to be expected. But I did have a few people come past and, say that they've been following my journey. And I had this guy come up and he's like, oh, my mum loves you. She's obsessed with you. And it was really cool. And I signed like a few autographs, had a few photos of people and stuff like that. But yeah, basically just watch Laura Lee get bombarded with interviews and photos and everything like that.
Yeah, she loves it, and she's so good at it too. She's
yeah.
out there. She knows what she's doing. She's the most marketable Olympian probably up there because she just
is
out there, and she's just got that like look she's just everything. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens this year, which we'll talk about in a second. But I want to know how your experience was with Dean and Jazz. Like, was it really nice to have them with you guys? And like, can you imagine it without them? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just like the whole experience. I mean, we went to Vegas. So we spent some time in Dallas first, and then I think it was like a week that we spent there where I like finished off my prep, and then we headed to Vegas from there, and then we got an Airbnb with Dean and Jasmine, which was really cool. Cool to spend time with them, and just cool to be around other people who were doing the same thing. And it was awesome because we just had a plan of like, okay, which gym are we going to go and check out today? Which gym are we going to train at? And we went to like, all the famous gyms and stuff that you see like on Instagram and had to train at a few of those. So yeah, it was really special to be able to share that whole experience with them. And I got like so overwhelmed and so nervous and so like just excited when Jasmine came out on stage. I was like losing it. And Frank was like, after she'd finished, he was like, okay, you need to sit down and calm down now because like we don't want this to affect your physique for tomorrow. He's like, just breathe. And I was like, oh yeah, it was really cool.
And she did so well, hey?
She did regardless of, I know that, and she said it, that she didn't bring her best physique. But I mean, she still looked absolutely incredible, and she still, made it on the Olympia stage, which is just such a huge achievement anyway.
Yeah. And we all know she'll be back there this year. We're ready.
She will be back. Yeah, we're both going to be back doing it again, round 2.
Looking even better, which is mad. So
yeah.
We will all be here for it. Okay, so I've got some general questions from like Instagram and stuff like that we'll just run through those, and then we'll chat about your year in 2025 and get the good stuff that everyone else wants to know too. So someone asked last time with the Jazz episode, Jasmine and Dean, but they want to ask you as well because obviously it's different for different people. But what was the cost of competing like? And obviously not down to like, oh, it was exactly $12,000, like whatever. But is there things that came up that you were like, oh shit, I didn't you know, expect that or whatever? Because there are some pros that did ask that question, like, because they want to compete overseas. Are they just like random things that you need to account for?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, there's the pro card that you actually, people don't realize this, but you actually have to pay for your pro card to compete, and it's a yearly thing. So you know, for 2025, I think it's going to be like 450 New Zealand dollars or something like that. So you pay for your pro card, and then that entitles you to compete in any pro show throughout that year. You just have to do the contract and sign the contract and stuff like that. So you pay that fee initially, and then yeah, like it's definitely not cheap. Obviously, Frank and I went together, so there was like extra costs with like, you know, flights for two people and stuff like that instead of one. But for my first tour, it was probably like around 30,000 for 5 weeks in the States. Yeah, so it's definitely not cheap, which is another reason why we wanted to do back-to-back shows. And I think that's a big thing for New Zealand pros or anybody who's heading somewhere where, you know, it's not their country, it's not their you're heading overseas. You really need to make it worth going. So doing those back-to-back shows, I mean, it's kind of like more bang for your buck, you know, rather than just going over and doing one show or going over for 6 weeks and only doing two shows kind of thing. So you really do have to plan that. I guess like, you know, and with the Olympia trip, like I was really lucky with that because the Olympia do cover a few costs. And I also had an amazing donation from my sponsor Sprintfit, which was just incredible, and so lovely of them to like help me out along the way as well. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like hidden costs and stuff like that. Oh, a big thing actually would be like passes to go to the gym. Like sometimes you're paying like $30 for one gym session, which is ridiculous. But when we went over for the Olympia, like a lot of gyms over there will let you go in for free if you're a pro. Like when we train at Destination Dallas, like we don't have to pay. And when we went to Powerhouse, we got invited by Iris and Hide to train there. And that was like, I could train for free and I had a +1. Whereas Dragon's Lair, I think it was around $30 for like one training session there. So that can definitely add up pretty quickly. When we went to Miami back, you know, when I competed throughout the year, can't remember which month it was, like June, I think. That was crazy. Like the gym membership for a week was like 180 New Zealand dollars. So that kind of thing, like definitely adds up. We did Uber a lot in that first trip, which the costs added up from that as well. So definitely want to, if you're going to Uber, definitely want to get your accommodation close to the gym because that's probably where you're going to be spending most of your time. Yeah, I can't think of any other like hidden costs at the moment, but definitely like, yeah, tan, that's not a hidden cost, but that is something that is like hugely expensive. Like you're paying probably like, I think it's like, but different shows are different prices, but like roughly like $250 to $300 per show for your tan, for your base coats and stuff like that. If you're doing hair and makeup, like I did all of that myself. I just invested in like lessons and then actually buying the makeup. I definitely recommend that for any pros traveling overseas, especially if you're doing multiple shows. Because I've got that makeup now, you know, and I just use it for all of my shows and probably just have to replace a foundation next year or something like that. But it's definitely saved me a lot of money, and it's also saved me getting up at like 2:30 a.m. for makeup appointments and stuff like that.
And getting ripped off like Shay Crotty.
I know, I saw that. I messaged her and gave her a little bit of advice with that, but that's just awful. I mean, yeah.
Don't need that. Don't need to be ripped off, guys. Any pros competing in sport, if you're getting your makeup done, just check with Shay about the not who not.
Got some recommendations for for a good makeup artist.
Happy to call them out on here too. There's a few people that need to be probably called out on some dodgy things. So, but yeah, just not cool. So saving money for that would be definitely helpful, I'm sure. And I reckon those gyms, like Dragon's League, can charge anything because anyone's going to pay. But I feel like they hike the price up around show time and certain, because they can, because they're like, oh, everyone's coming, so they're all going to pay. So cheeky little buggers, but it's just things to just account for, hey. And maybe, like you said, you had your sponsor help you. Jazz has had a little bit of help through Strom as well. So I think New Zealanders underrate sponsorships and what they can do for you. And I think it's actually really worth, if you can push the social media and stuff to get a sponsor, it is helpful to do it because they do hook you up a little bit, especially pros, hey, because they love having you. So it's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky with my sponsors.
And they're lucky to have you too, babe. I mean, you're an Olympian. New Zealand, there's not many of you. So it works both ways. So I need to ask, what was it competing? Actually, this was an Instagram question. What was it like competing at the O during our season in NZIFBB? So was it kind of hectic or kind of cool that everyone was competing all at the same time? Like, what was it a bit like at that time of the year? Because you've got your clients too and stuff.
Yeah, it was both hectic and awesome at the same time. I did give my clients a lot of warning to say, I am doing my USA circuit, and then so there'll be limited, lessons available during this time. I was still doing quite a few online lessons while we were over there, but they weren't. There wasn't a whole lot of availability because I was focusing on myself during that time. And then same with the Olympia, it was kind of letting everyone know, obviously during this time there's going to be limited availability. So book your lessons early, get in early, book in advance, that kind of thing. But it was really cool because it was like we were sharing the journey together and, supporting them and being able to, I can understand what they're going through because I'm also in prep and stuff like that. And it was cool. Yeah.
And you made it back for our shows, just in time for Waikato and Nationals, I think, but you missed Mo's. Is that right? You saw some of them.
I didn't make it to Waikato's or Mo's. Waikato's, because when I flew back from the Olympia, I flew out the next day for a work conference. So I missed that show, and I also missed Mo's because I had work. I had a big breast reconstruction to do that day. So
you saw
did miss out. I saw Nationals. Yeah, I was there for that. Thank gosh.
That was awesome. That was an awesome day, and I can't wait for this year. Another Instagram question: if you could change one thing about show day or criteria, what would it be and why? I thought that was interesting. That's from one of your girls too.
Yeah. So you probably already can guess based on what I've said earlier. I would I like a conditioned look, so I would change the criteria just slightly to favor that kind of physique. Yeah, that's what I enjoy, the look that I like on myself.
Yeah, and it's harder, so why not go harder?
Yeah.
Harder to achieve, so we do it. Okay, this is another Instagram question, a little bit deeper, but probably a good one to ask because we all know you and Frank. How do you maintain a healthy relationship with your husband as bodybuilders?
Yeah, I think just the same as any other relationship if you're not bodybuilders. Just I think there's a lot of understanding as well, and just putting time into each other, but in a different way. So usually we would go on a weekly or a fortnightly date night, and normally that is going out for dinner or something like that. So obviously we didn't go out for dinners anymore. We just did movie dates and went to the movies and stuff like that. So I think just still putting in time for that, but also understanding where we're at. Frank is really good at that. He knows me so well, and obviously as my coach and my husband, he sees me every day and he can kind of tell what's going on with me. So just when I need that extra help and the extra support, he's helping me with that. And then just recently, I haven't been working, so I've been doing a lot more and making sure that all his food's prepped for him, dinners are done. It comes in seasons, but I think he shares my goals with me is the main thing, and supports me. So yeah, I'm really lucky.
It's communication and teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That makes sense. Are you excited for Frank this year? This is a random question I'm just throwing in there, but are you excited for Frank because you're like he's just going to do things where everyone knows it. Everyone's like, Frank's turning pro this year, so it's just like consensus around. But are you pumped for his year as well?
Yeah, super excited for him. Like, I mean, he's been competing since he was 16. And, you know, for a while, he kind of didn't really have that goal of turning pro. So it's cool to see him have that fire again for it. And I also think, you know, there's a period of time there a few years ago, you know, where he lost his dad and like he just a lot changed in that period of time and his focus went elsewhere and stuff like that. So it's cool, yeah, to see him have that fire back for it and just push his own dreams, you know, like he's always so focused on everybody else and you know, wanting everybody else to do well, which he still does, but it's cool to see him have that fire for himself again.
Yeah, and the team's so stoked for him, eh? We're like, everyone's just so pumped.
Yeah, and he's making good progress. Like he's doing really well. So
yes, yeah. Crazy. Speaking of progress, have you seen Dean's transformation over
that? Yeah. It's been really cool. So Frank and Dean have been training together, which I think has been really, really good for the both of them. And then over this period of time where I've had off work, I've been training with Jasmine as well. So we've been doing like 2 to 3 glute days a week together because usually I train in the mornings and they like to train after work, but it doesn't really fit with my schedule. So we usually kind of get one training in a week, maybe one in a fortnight on a Saturday. But it's just been really cool to be doing like those regular sessions together. And we're both like, we are just ruining each other. Like we are so sore and we've been pushing really hard. And it's just super motivating to be doing that together and just training with like that caliber of athlete who, you know, has the same goals as me and, you know, like we know what it's like to be on that Olympia stage and like we want to get there again. So we're just pushing each other super hard. And we both need to grow. So we're kind of just on the same path. It's been really cool.
I love it. We're so lucky to have you four. Please don't leave us. Don't go to for Australia. We love it.
Well, I know Frank and I are staying. We're not. We'll just spend some time in those places, but the home is home for us.
Yeah. And Dean and Jazz, if they do leave us, I know they'll come back. They'll just do it a little.
Exactly.
There were a few questions about the start of your journey, which we're not going to ask because we've done a whole bunch about that, haven't we, babe? So if anyone wants to learn about Kate's journey, because there's a lot of new followers for you and for the podcast, so they probably just haven't seen it. So go back and listen to those guys. Someone asked, who's winning Arnold Bikini this year?
Oh, gosh. I honestly thought that Amy was going to win the O. Like, I had my money on Amy. I really like her physique as well. So let's go with Amy. I think she'll do it. Yeah, she's taken her feedback from the Olympia. She's fired up. I think it's going to be hers. Go, Amy.
I feel like her and Jamie just went a little too hard on the downsizing, and just a couple of other little things. They just missed the mark a little bit, and it's unlike them. But I feel like Amy will never do that again, and neither will Jamie. They'll come back hard, and I also reckon Maureen's going to look sick, so I reckon she felt like she must.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. That will be interesting too.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
It'll be good. Someone asked if you think Jen's going to be back this year.
I hope so. I'd love to see her come back. Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I'm still not sure of the reason why she didn't compete like at the Olympia and stuff. Obviously, she mentioned it was like life goals and stuff like that, other things that she had going on. But I haven't seen anything where she's kind of put it out there exactly why and exactly what's going on. So yeah, have you seen anything? Have I just missed it?
Did that interview with Olympia TV just sort of last year, but talking about the same thing, and she was like, I'm definitely not pregnant, I'm definitely coming back. She said all of those things, and she's definitely not pregnant. Any bigger, and she's been doing things and stuff like that. But she's not been talking much about competing at all. She's been very social and just like very, which is lovely, and she wanted
living her life.
Living life. I mean, she's allowed to, but there's just not been much allusion to her competing side of life. It's been more social and business, which is cool, but she might be keeping it quiet so she can just come back and blow it up, or maybe it's coming later in the year, who knows, but I hope she's coming back.
I would be surprised if she would miss 2 Olympias in a row, you know.
It'd be weird. Like, that would be weird. There'd be something else going on, right? Like, she must be.
It's got to be an announcement coming soon.
Yeah, we'll just be on standby until then. Someone asked, when do you think we're going to get our NZIFBB calendar? Laughing faces.
No, hopefully soon. Hopefully really soon. Yeah, I mean, when does it normally come out? Is it like early January or
Usually December, January, or the last
is
2
it?
years in December, which has been kind
Has
of early.
it? Okay. Yeah, because I mean, like we know that Mo's busy and stuff. With like he also runs like the Thailand shows and stuff, and that was only in November. And obviously with the new fit model and stuff, like maybe some pro shows as well. So maybe he's just like getting everything sorted out. It'll be
Yeah.
worth the wait, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's just pro shows. I'm like, I'm surely he's just racking up some pro shows. Like, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
not, but
fingers
I'm like,
crossed.
yeah, fingers crossed. And he did put up on a story the other day that he's back to work. So just like, let's give him a couple more days.
Mm.
We'll see how it goes. What do your glute workouts look like at the moment?
So training glutes 3 times a week, and just like the basics really, like lots of thrusts, RDLs, abductions, really enjoying like a lot of work. How do I say this? Like, I'm not very good at explaining it, but like, have you seen me do those? It's kind of like Bulgarian split squats,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
working in like the lower 2/3 of the movement. So you're not like coming all the way up, you're just working that glute in its like stretched position. Like, I'm really, really loving those. And then like your standard like hamstring curl and stuff like that. So I definitely feel like my glutes have grown. Like,
yeah.
it's coming along well.
They look like
The program is working.
you're popping. You're looking good.
Thank
And
you.
there's that new viral cable movement that you guys have started that everyone's now doing. Have you seen that?
Oh, was that the RDL and the
Yes.
cable?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like everyone's doing that now.
they are. They're like, if the Olympians are doing it, we're all doing it. So the
We're
whole
doing it.
team now doing cable RDLs. But hey,
Mhm.
if it works, it works.
Something else I've really been loving actually is like a single leg press, and then just like positioning my leg or my foot so that I'm really feeling all the tension in that like the tie-in area.
And
So I think yeah, my mind muscle connection is really good. And I am getting stronger. Like, I'm pushing those weights up and keeping really good form. Rep ranges are like between 8 and 15. So
cool.
pretty standard there. But yeah, just loving training at the moment. It's going really well. And Frank's finally given me another upper body day. So for a while, I only had one, and then he's put another one in there. So I'm happy about that.
So what are they? Are they like shoulder specific, or have you got a little bit of back in there, or what have you got in your upper body days?
Yeah, on one of my days, it's just really super basic, just all shoulders. And then the other day is, I think, half and half, or maybe like 3 back exercises, 2 shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't need to grow up top. And the
No.
more that I grow up top, the more I need to grow down below to like keep those proportions. So I just have to remember that.
Yeah.
We're focused on the criteria. We're not, yeah.
Yeah, you can bang out big shoulders like when you're done competing.
Yeah.
You've been a mama or something, you know, like there's other times for those big shoulders,
Yeah.
even though they're already huge. So what has your reverse and off season looked like so far? We've talked a bit about it, but we know what your goal is, but has it been pretty on point? Like, you're on a good projection, and were you more relaxed over the holidays? So I guess it's a two-part question.
Yeah, definitely more relaxed over the holidays, like with the extras. Still, like, obviously been getting my protein in, and then just trying to, if there's any like treats and stuff, just having those like around my workout. So trying to be like timely with those extras and things like that. I did have a birthday just after Christmas, so my best friend, she makes me a cake every year, and she's just incredible. So we had gosh, it was like caramel banana. There was layers of like caramel, banana, chocolate, like all the goodies in this cake. So yeah, I enjoyed that and everything. Did share it around. It was quite helpful having like 5 people in the house over that period of time to share it with. But yeah, definitely been more relaxed. Yeah, I think it works for me. I mean, I'm still doing my check-ins. I'm still like pretty in check with my body fat. I'm not blowing out. I am obviously gaining size. I have more body fat on me now than I did, during my prep and everything like that, which is normal. But yeah, I think being able to enjoy things while I can
Yeah.
is important for me, and that works for me. So But we're back on track now.
Ready for, yeah, which we're going
Yeah.
to do now. We're going to talk about your 2025. But
Yeah.
before we talk about your 2025, can we just quickly talk about what Frank announced in the last episode about his gym and venue that he's sorting out for this year? I'm sure you're a part of that
Yeah.
too, all the plans. But what are your thoughts on it? Are you excited? Like, what do you think he'll use it for? Like, is it just going to be a gym or other things too? What do you reckon?
Yeah, super excited. Ever since I met Frank, he has wanted to open a gym. And he's always been passionate about that. But like I said before, when we were talking about him, wanting to turn pro this year, there was a period of time there where he just kind of let go of his own goals a little bit because he was focusing on other things and, losing his dad and sorting out a whole array of things to do with that. So his own goals really got pushed aside. So I'm excited. Yeah, he's got that fire back. He's following his passion and his dream of what he has always wanted to do. So yeah, super excited for him. Been going and looking at like different options and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be
It'll
fun.
good.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
He's going to have a little shake up, it's going to be fun. Okay, what are your goals with competing this year? Everybody wants to know. You don't obviously have to tell us, oh, I'm going to do this show, this show, this show, but do you have things locked in? What are you willing to tell us? Tell us about what you've got planned for the year.
Yeah. So yes, I do have like a tentative plan for this year. Obviously, with my feedback and everything from my last circuit in the Olympia, like I do need an off season. So I would have loved to have just applied for the Arnold. I would have loved to have done like the Pittsburgh or the New York Pro and stuff like that, but it's just all too soon for me. So I am, taking a long off season. So obviously competed at the Olympia in October, so November, December, January, February, March, May, June, July. Yeah, I'm gonna be competing in July, August.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and we'll be going back to the States and there'll be like a round of shows. I haven't like 100% locked anything in yet because I need to fill out my annual leave form and get that to my boss on Monday before I book those flights. But yeah, be doing a round of shows. There's like around 7 shows in that kind of time period that would work. I won't do all of them, of course. Like I think 7 is just far too many. But I will be doing the Texas Pro. So I've decided that I'm really going to do that one, and then it's just which ones around that I'll be doing. So yeah, still a lot of time to work on my feedback and make sure that I'm coming back better.
Yeah, heaps of time, babe. And you got heaps of time to plan shows because obviously you can change and pick other ones and whatever else in that time frame. There's heaps to work with. We don't know, but I hope Jazz does Texas with you as well because she loved that show. And I reckon I just reckon
just have to wait and see.
We have to wait and see, but both her and I were just talking about her Texas physique like the whole time.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So coming back for a vengeance there, we never know. But we'll hear more about it throughout the year, babe. Obviously, no pressure throughout the year to just share anything. We'll see what happens when it happens, all in good time. And you'd want to do like it'd be cool if like I feel like there's a reason that people do the Arnold and some people do Olympia. Like there's 2 seasons of the year, right? There's like 2 bits, but one day it would be cool. Would you enjoy to do the opposite? Like do the Arnold and the Pittsburgh and like maybe if you don't make an Olympia qualification or something, maybe do that instead. Would that be fun?
I would want to do it all. Yeah. So like this year, I would like to do this round of shows. Obviously, the goal is going to be to qualify for the Olympia again. Then I would kind of like to do a show after the Olympia, win that, qualify for the following year. In an ideal world, because I do feel like a little bit. I know it's silly, but I kind of feel a little bit behind a little bit at the moment because I'm seeing the list of girls already Olympia qualified and it's like racking up already. So I'll just have to obviously play it by ear and see how I'm feeling, see how the physique's looking and everything like that. But it would be cool to kind of qualify early, then have no pressure, be able to apply for the Arnold, maybe be able to do like a couple of like the Pittsburgh Pro or something like that with no pressure, knowing that I've already qualified. That would be super ideal. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. Like, Olympia finishes and like literally in a week or two, there's already qualified for the next, like it's actually quite crazy. Like it doesn't seem,
Yeah.
but it's already on, you know? It's nuts.
Yeah, I think even for like a few weeks leading up to the Olympia,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
those shows are not qualifiers for that Olympia, they're qualifiers for the following year.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Shay
Yeah.
Crow's show is one of those, I think. So it's like, it's just, it's,
Yes.
isn't it? That makes you feel like you're
Yeah.
behind, like you say, but you're not, you're right on time.
Yeah.
Um, do you have a big year of work planned and stuff like that? I'm sure you're always busy, but does it look like you're still sticking with nursing? All of that's just gonna be go, go, go on top?
Yeah, still sticking with nursing. Like I really love what I do. Obviously I need to apply for my annual leave and hopefully work is going to be supportive of that. They always have been really supportive, but so far. So fingers crossed, they're going to give me the annual leave that I need to go and do all of this competing again. The main surgeon that I work with 5 different plastic surgeons. So the main kind of guy is he says he's going to retire in like July, August. So we'll see. I mean, he's a really, really good surgeon, and I think he'll find it hard just to stop. So maybe he'll just slow down, but kind of like don't know what's happening there. But I'm sure it's going to be a busy year regardless, like whatever happens with that. And then with the posing stuff on top of that. Yeah, always like keen to grow that and keep going there, doing as much as I can with both, juggling both.
Always busy girl, just getting it done. This is how it's done. And you have spaces for posing this year for girls to jump on now, and you obviously tell them
Yeah,
to do it now, right?
yeah, definitely. Just send me a message on Instagram, or I've got a link to book on my Instagram page as well, so you can do that. I've had quite a few girls starting already, who are wanting to compete later in the year. So yeah, the girls are getting onto it. Like if you're going to compete this year, you need to get onto it quickly.
Literally now. Like I think it's like
Literally now, yesterday.
yeah, yesterday I like worked it out. I
Yeah.
was on my whiteboard. It's like 30 weeks out. We're like 30 weeks out from the first. If it
Mm,
was to like last year's calendar, it could be different. It could be sooner. So I'm like, that's like 10 weeks till prep. I'm like, we're nearly there.
yeah,
Feels
it
like,
comes around fast. And I
yeah,
guess, there's a lot of girls still waiting for that calendar to come out,
yeah.
to go to get that like, oh shit, I want to do this show and it's this many weeks out. I need to start now. But still, yeah, heaps of girls already onto it.
Yeah, don't be one of those people that we need to wait for a calendar. You shouldn't need a calendar. You should already be,
No,
like come on,
that's
girls.
right.
And boys too. Guys need to get into opposing as well, but we all need to get ready because it's going to be a big year by the looks. But so good, great to chat to you, babe. Do you want to shout out your sponsors or anything like that before we wrap up today?
Yeah, why not? So obviously like Sprint Fit, yeah, that's so amazing. They've supported me for like 10 years now. I think, yeah, I've been with them for like 9 or 10 years, which is crazy. So they've seen me change a lot during that time and get into, my bodybuilding and everything. And just having their support for the Olympia was just amazing as well. And then Better Bodies and Gasp. So obviously like they're new sponsors of mine and Frank's, and um, they're just like one big family, really, really cool people, really welcoming people. And their support for the Olympia was crazy as well. But I just felt so backed by them and just so supported by them. So yeah, it's really cool to be a part of that family now. And then obviously like Angel Competition bikinis, I was obsessed with my Olympia bikini. Like I loved it. Like I loved the velvet, I loved like the ombre, I loved the blue, the fit, everything was perfect. So stoked with that. And then Swole Foods, I need to do a Swole Foods order actually. They're amazing. They save me so much time on my preps. I always use their prep packs, like their prepped slow cooked beef and chicken and stuff like that, which is super handy. And then Glam Competition jewelry for my heels and all my stage jewelry and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everyone.
Oh, you've had the most sponsors of anyone I've had on the phone, and you should because you're an Olympian now. But I mean, it's just good to have sponsors. It's like having a team like back you is quite cool. Hey? So,
Yeah.
if any of you people need Swole Foods, because a lot of people will need that for their prep, trust me, it helps a lot. Kate uses it herself. Do you have a code for Swole Foods and like Sprint Fit and stuff like that?
Yeah, so all of my codes are in my link tree on my Instagram. I think that's probably the easiest way to find all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, get onto it. And if you need subs, Sprint Fit's obviously the way to go. 10 years in the game. I mean, can't be
Yes,
wrong. Can't be
can't go
bad.
wrong.
Absolutely. And it was just really good to have you on, babe, and catch up. Fourth episode. No.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I feel like this was a good one. And we had so much to chat about.
Yeah. And you've grown so much since we've even been on the pod together. Hey, it's like nuts. Even both of us. Like, I mean, everyone grows over time, but it's just cool to see that journey and how much you've done in 2 years. It's nuts.
Yeah, and your podcast is doing so well. It was crazy to listen to the wrap up, and you know how many countries, how many people from different countries are tuning in and listening. Like that is wild.
I can't wait to see what
So
happens.
cool.
Got big goals for the pod, and I really want it to be more media based and like have more cameras and like, you know, just more things going on. It's just fun. It's cool to be in the scene and to see what people are up to, and everyone's enjoying it, I think.
Yeah,
All good stuff.
absolutely. I think I think I've said it to you so many times, but you're doing amazing things for New Zealand bodybuilding and like the culture and everything, and it's all just really positive. And you know, I'm grateful for like all the support that you've given me, and all the wrap ups and everything like that. Yeah, it's awesome to have. So yeah, thank you so much for everything you do for us.
And same with you. I think it's cool we can work together, you know, because we're both like,
Yeah.
it's cool for people that are like putting things into action, like just work together on it and just make it even better. It's even better
Yeah.
than love it. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. If you want to follow Kate's journey, you know where to find her. I've got the link in the description down below. If you want to follow, I'll put the link for your link tree actually down there too. If you want to check out the Swole Foods, they're great, and Sprint Fit too, and all of the other sponsors that Kate has. Don't forget to like if you're on YouTube, and subscribe and follow us on Spotify. We'll have more episodes coming, a lot more of our new pros coming up soon, so that's exciting too. And we'll talk to you probably in episode 5, Kate, about a little series.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.